umaga. Sisimulan na ng Department of Foreign Affairs sa Agosto ang e-payment system. Ayon sa DFA, babayaran na ng advance kapag nagpa-appointment online ang full processing fee no 1,200 pesos para sa express processing at 950 pesos sa regular processing. May dagdag na 50 pesos naman para sa processing fee. Ang sistema ay maaari pa lamang magamit ng mga nagpapabook ng kanilang pasaporte sa Metro Manila. Samantala, naghahanap na ang Commission on Elections o COMELEC ng mga supplier para sa SD card, thermal paper at baterya na gagamitin sa 2019 midterm elections. Sa gagawing bidding, pipiliin nila ang mga supplier para sa pag-upa ng mahigit 77,000 external battery na gagamitin sa mga vote counting machines mula sa Smartmatic na magkakahalaga ng 175 million pesos. Itinakda ang pagsusumite ng bidding documents hanggang Hulyo 2. Bukod sa baterya, binuksan na rin ang bidding para sa mahigit 104,000 SD card at kaparehong bilang ng mga warm SD card na may kabuuang budget na 167.5 million pesos. At yan ang mga balita para sa oras na ito. Abangan ang iba pang may init na balita mamayang alas 11:30 ng umaga sa Aguila Probinsya. Mula sa Eagle News Service, ako si Judith Gamera and 9-1 with 25.
The leaders of the Group of Seven has begun their two-day summit in Canada, and they're trying to find common ground on issues like North Korea and trade. Now, on Friday, French President Emmanuel Macron said that things were moving forward at the G7 summit in Canada as he held talks with President Trump that focused on the U.S. president's decision to slap tariffs on America's allies.
I wanted to thank President Trump. I think we had a very open and direct discussion this afternoon. We've always had this kind of discussion. And I think on trade, there is a critical path, but there is a way to progress all together. We had a very direct and open discussion, and I saw the willingness on all the sides to find agreements and have a win-win approach for our people, our workers, and our middle classes.
It's a wonderful country.
For his part, President Trump said they had a little test once in a while when it came to trade, but he added that they were working it out.
We've had really a very good relationship, very special. A lot of people wrote a couple of things that weren't quite true, a little bit accurate, perhaps. We have a little test every once in a while when it comes to trade. The United States has had a very big trade deficit for many years with the European Union, and we're working it out. And Emmanuel's been very helpful in that regard, and something's going to happen. I think it'll be very positive. We had a great relationship right from the beginning.
Thank you.
The U.S. President also said that progress had been made in trade talks with Canada as he met the country's Prime Minister on the margins of the G7 summit in Quebec.
Trade has been a topic of discussion and will continue to be, but our engagement towards the world, how we're working together to create good jobs for folks on both sides of the border and around. We both got elected on a commitment to grow the middle class and help those working hard to join it, and that's exactly the kinds of things that we're going to stay focused on, and it's a pleasure to have you here, Donald.
Well, Justin, it's been really great, and I appreciate, Justin has agreed to cut all tariffs and all trade barriers between Canada and the United States. So I'm very happy about that.
So I'd say NAFTA's in good shape.
But we are actually working on it. We are actually working on it. But our relationship is very good. We are actually working on cutting tariffs and making it all very fair for both countries. And we've made a lot of progress today. We'll see how it all works out, but we've made a lot of progress. It could be that NAFTA will be a different form. It could be with Canada, with Mexico, one-on-one, much simpler agreement, much easier to do, I think better for both countries, but we're talking about that among other things. But the relationship is probably better, as good or better than it's ever been, and I think we'll get to something very beneficial to Canada and to the United States.
Now, earlier, U.S. President Trump called for the G7 to welcome Russia back into the bloc before heading to the summit in Canada. Let's take a listen.
And I would
recommend, and it's up to them, but Russia should be in the meeting. It should be a part of it. You know, whether you like it or not, and it may not be politically correct, but we have a world to run. And in the G7, which used to be the G8, they threw Russia out. They should let Russia come back in, because we should have Russia at the negotiating table.
Now, President Trump argued that Moscow was too important to isolate. Meanwhile, President Trump also said he was mulling a raft of pardons, including a posthumous pardon for boxing legend Muhammad Ali, but not for himself. Born Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali changed his name after converting to Islam in the 1960s. He refused to serve in the Vietnam War because of his religious beliefs, declaring himself a conscientious objector. He was stripped of his heavyweight crown in 1967, but his legal fight ended in 1971 when the Supreme Court ruled in his favor and overturned his conviction. He regained the boxing title in 1974.
It won't even be. And some folks that have sentences that aren't fair. But I am thinking about Muhammad Ali.
What will it take for you to fire?
In fact, we're doing right now recommendations on, frankly, we're doing recommendations on Muhammad Ali. Say it, Peter. What? No, I'm not above the law. I never want anybody to be above the law. But the pardons are a very positive thing for a president. I think you see the way I'm using them. And yes, I do have an absolute right to pardon myself, but I'll never have to do it because I didn't do anything wrong. And everybody knows it. There's been no collusion. There's been no obstruction. It's all a made-up fantasy. It's a witch hunt. No collusion, no obstruction, no nothing. Now, the Democrats have had massive collusion, massive obstruction, and they should be investigated. We'll see what's happening. Yeah.
Meanwhile, China and Russia are not in the G7 summit. However, Chinese President Xi Jinping has opened late Saturday a two-day regional security summit attended by Russia, Iran, and other allies, confronting rising tensions with the U.S. over trade and Washington's withdrawal from the Iranian nuclear deal. Armored vans lined the streets of the coastal city of Qingdao as world leaders arrived for the 18th annual summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO, a regional security bloc led by China and Russia. Take a look. Its member states also include 4 ex-Soviet Central Asian republics, Pakistan and India. Iran is an observer member. Authorities emptied an entire oceanside swath of the city, clearing out shopkeepers, residents, and day trippers to make way for President Xi, his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, and Iran's President Hassan Rouhani. Pakistani President Mamnoon Hussain and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also attend the meeting. The SCO meeting comes after President Trump controversially pulled Washington out of the 2015 international pact with Iran that placed limits on its nuclear program in return for easing economic sanctions. Guatemalan authorities ordered fresh evacuations of rescue workers in nearby villages on Friday because of escalating activity at the Fuego volcano, which erupted this week, killing at least 109 people. Take a look. Guatemala's Volcanic Institute said in a statement that ash reached heights of up to 19,700 feet in 2 of the canyons where flows accumulated. Rescue workers, volunteers, and police who were still in the area fled to escape the flows. The new round of evacuations came a day after search and rescue efforts were suspended because of hot volcanic material and concerns that rainy weather could trigger mudslides. There are also questions remaining about why evacuation orders for at-risk villages came too late. The country's Volcanic Institute warned of possible pyroclastic flows at 6 a.m. on the day of the eruption, but there was no clear call to evacuate. The institute has been blamed for the failure to heed those advance warnings. The disaster agency says volcanologists were not explicit enough that the situation was dire. Guatemala's public ministry is launching an investigation into whether authorities were negligent in their handling of the disaster. Meanwhile, the relatives of the victims still missing after the fierce eruption from the Guatemala's Fuego volcano cried as the police restrict access to the most affected area after the volcano suffered a surge in activity. Beneath the thick ash blanket, along with the heaped cars and vans and rubble, lie an unknown number of bodies. The known deaths, the death toll stands at 109, with nearly 200 missing. Now, some witnesses say they were working in Honduras, or a witness said that they were working in Honduras when a fast-moving stream of boiling mud and incandescent rocks scoured the neighboring village from the side of the mountain. The authorities gave them no warning, and there's not a soul to be seen in the neighborhood. Most have yet to return since Sunday's catastrophic eruption.
Welcome to the garden. A world that recaptures the value of life, creating your moments, kindling your passion, worth reliving over and over. This is your world, your life, your garden.
As Eagle Broadcasting Corporation marks its 50th year, it is conducting several activities under the theme EBC Cares, enabling a better community. Health and nutrition are key factors on child's learning and well-being. EBC's feeding program encourages the community to combat malnutrition among children and ensure them a healthy future. EBC's cleanup drive and citronella planting hopes to help the community in caring for environment and preventing diseases such as dengue. EBC's public service program, Paglilingkod sa Bayan, Serbisyo para sa Mamamayan, has opened its doors to government agencies so more people can avail of these services. EBC's blood donation program and medical mission continue to spearhead life-saving projects, and EBC's livelihood seminar teaches and guides those who want to have additional income and business. EBC Cares, serving the people in these interesting times.
Agila Balita, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 12 ng tanghali hanggang 1:00 ng hapon.
Roads are blocked and tires are burning. Nearly 2 weeks after a peaceful protest, things have taken a violent turn. It began in Manyatseng. A roadblock was set up at the main entrance to town. There were reports from residents that 2 taxis had been set afire. What we're seeing here is a highly organized assault on public roads and major freeways in an effort to send a message of dissent to the local municipality. Protesters have been setting up minor roadblocks to draw police to urban areas, while others tackle more major roads. For the past couple of hours, police have been falling back and protesters have been inching their way towards the main town of Ladybrand. Many motorists have altered their routes to this road, as it is one of the few roads left open that leads to highways going in and out of town. Protesters, through the residents of Plattsburgh, were able to set large stones across the road. They then burned tires in front of the bridge. Upon the arrival of the police, the residents dispersed and the police, along with other motorists, were able to quickly clear the road. Locals believe this road will continue to be a target as the protesters intensify their efforts throughout the night.
Last time there was a big problem when there was protest here. People were stealing everything from the shop. They took everything from my shop. We are very scared when we hear that there's a protest again tomorrow.
When they make the xenophobia, they run to our shops and they're damaging our property and they're stealing all my things. So we're scared also for our life. So that's why we run to the safe place. Because of these people, we are foreigner, and they take the advantage.
And unfortunately, some of the diversion, when we have got legitimate march to our leaders, some of people take advantage of the poor. These are Africans. It does not matter whether you come from America, you come from Asia, you come from Africa. We are all South African. We are all Africans. We don't want xenophobic tendencies. What we are raising is not things we are dreaming. These are constitutional things. Always people like to, when you raise issues, they are labels. We want the law to be adhered to. We want our people to be saved. That's the bottom line. We are stressing one thing. This is a peaceful march. Nobody must be hurt. Nobody must be insulted.
We want municipality to fix the roads, the potholes, even the road that will go to the traffic department is the worst road that ever.
I'm ward councillor in opposition here today, and I'm marching with the residents of the whole of Mansopa today because the budget of this municipality does not speak to serve the needs of the people in this municipality. The people in this municipality have had the same issues for years and years and years, and it does not seem like they are being listened to.
We are not here to nurse individual feelings. We are here to raise communities' issues. And when we do this, those who think they are going to stop us, this is like a train of steam that we are going to move. They must move out of the people. We are not going to wait, and we are serious. It's not a joke.
They have to prove a total inability of the municipality giving proper services. If they are allegations of corruption, etc., that must be proven. It can't just be alleged. It must be proven in order to make their case stronger.
This is just the beginning of the process. If within 7 days they don't go, we are going to make sure we intensify our processes. Until they go, we are not going to stop here. We are going to ensure that they make sure that they go. There will be march after march every month from now on until she realizes that she no longer has power over us as the community.
Earlier in the day, police cars blaring sirens led a motorcade of more than 40 military vehicles through the center of Lady Brand town, halting traffic and alarming standers-by. The motorcade exited the town in the direction of Manyatseng and paused briefly along the outskirts of the Manyatseng township before moving along. This happened around the same time the protests in Manyatseng were picking up speed. Police, however, say that the military's presence was not connected to the protest and that the military was on its way to Fouriersburg for a routine drill. Reporting from Lady Brand, South Africa, I'm Priscilla Chulu for Eagle News, and I am 1 with 25.
In other news, Anthony Bourdain, the affable American celebrity chef and author who shared his voracious curiosity for the world's food and cultures with millions through his popular television shows, has died at the age of 61. Bourdain committed suicide while in France, filming an episode of his Emmy-winning CNN food and travel program, Parts Unknown. According to the network, French authorities said Bourdain died by hanging at a luxury hotel, the Chambord. CNN said Bourdain's body was found in his hotel room by his close friend, Eric Rippert, the French executive chef of New York restaurant Le Bernardin. Bourdain's sudden death drew tributes from around the world, from the current as well as former U.S. presidents to celebrated chefs to ordinary people who vicariously joined him on his globe-trotting travels.
I think it's very sad. In fact, I want to extend to his family my heartfelt condolences. That was very shocking when I woke up this morning. Anthony Bourdain is dead, and I enjoyed his show. He was quite a character, I will say, but so I just want to extend my condolences, and also to the family of Kate Spade.
British celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay said Bourdain brought the world into our homes and inspired so many people to explore cultures and cities through their food. Meanwhile, Rose McGowan mourned the loss of her friend Anthony Bourdain with a tearful video message urging those considering suicide to seek help. Take a look.
Considering suicide, Please stop. Please call for help, because it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It's not forever. And the world will not be better off without you. Oh, Asia Argento, you've been through so much. Anthony, why? Please call a suicide hotline. This will affect people all over the globe, because Bourdain was international.
Why he hurried to die, you know? He's still young. He has a lot of passion, me too. While we are traveling, we talk about all the fashion, you know? He's very fashion. I don't understand. He suddenly suicide, you know. I don't understand that. Big surprise. He's younger than me. He did help me, you know. So sad. Died faster than me. He started, you know. He just started. Amazing show. Amazing stuff. I'm so upset that, you know. But he's a good man. I will miss him. Yeah, pretty much.
Eagle News teams are fair.
Sa impeachment complaint laban kay Supreme Court Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, ang ilang maestra.
Ang rekomendasyon na makasuhan ang mga sangkot kasama na ang mga opisyal ng customs.
Hardworking.
PNP Special Action Force magpapaunlad ng isang bata na magiging isang future youth leaders.
Dedicated.
Sa nasawi ay dito natagpuan yung bangkay.
Ito yung kanilang paraan ng pag-aalaga ng mga may sakit na leprosy noong unang panahon.
Committed to public service.
Ang chairmanship ng ASEAN sa bansang Singapore.
Marami yung mga biktima ng mga nawawala. Ang ng Bureau of Customs na nasa merkado na yung mga pinaging produkto.
Sa kapila ng mga kilos protesta na nanatiling
dahil
payapa.
Dahil sa mabilis na pagresponde ng mga pamatay sunog, ang apoy mabilis na naapula.
Karoon ng equal opportunity ang ibang mga kababaihan.
Ng mga kabataan at ipinakita sa pamagitan ng kanilang mga likha.
Nanatiling kulang pa rin ang tubig para sa irigasyon, para sa pagtatanim ng ating mga kababayang magsasaka.
As we live in interesting times.
Agila Balita, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 12 ng tanghali hanggang 1:00 ng hapon.
Singapore's reputation for rigid law and order was seen as a major factor for being chosen to host Tuesday's U.S.-North Korea summit. And the tiny city-state is determined not to disappoint. Police, including elite units of Nepalese Gurkhas, will flood the streets and enforce a virtual lockdown of key sections of the city, blocking off roads to facilitate the historic face-to-face between President Trump and North Korea leader Kim Jong-un. And in order to preempt any disruptive protests, a blanket ban has been imposed on bringing flares, banners, or loud-hailers anywhere near the key summit venues. Concrete barricades will spring up at key sites, and mechanical metal barriers that rise from the ground at the touch of a button are likely to appear on some roads. The police deployment for the hotly anticipated meeting is expected to be the biggest since 2006, when some 23,000 officers were mobilized for an IMF World Bank meeting in the city-state. From El Trompo and Rocket Man tacos to the bromance cocktails, restaurants and bars in food crazy Singapore are now rolling out weird and wonderful creations to mark the approaching U.S.-North Korea summit. Take a look.
Photo taking and actually purchasing the product, which is fine because for us the purpose is to spread harmony. It's not so much about leveraging to increase our sales.
Well, Trump loves his beef burgers with fries, and so we came up with this spin with our cowboy kimchi burger using US Black Angus beef with Korean kimchi. And it's actually served on top of our homemade, Singapore homemade bun.
He's a very big fan about the Kobe or Wagyu beef, and he's a really crazy fan about the caviar. I can combine together these two ingredients. It's very typical Japanese plate, yeah? But I additional a little bit one Italian touch with the blue cheese. Is one sauce put on top.
If you buy one of the special tacos over the next 2 weeks, you go into the draw, and then if you win, you actually get to smash one of the Donald Trump or the Kim Jong-un peanuts.
Hello everyone, my name is Christine, and today I am here at Ashikaga Flower Park to see the beautiful wisteria flowers. I'm excited! Come, join me! Every year, thousands of people are visiting the park to see the famous wisteria.
If you are a wanderlust, try to embark on Wisteria Adventure for a tranquil experience. Ashikaga Flower Park in Tochigi showcases the beauty of mainly wisteria, as well as many other flowers like azalea.
Here at Ashikaga Flower Park, you can not only see the breathtaking wisterias, but also the pretty azaleas.
Hi, I'm Shirley. I have been in Japan for about 6 months now. This is my first time visiting the Hysteria. It took me around 3 hours to reach here, but I think it was totally worth it. And it's really beautiful for a very minimal fees. It's like 1,600 for a very beautiful setting with the white wisterias, the yellow ones and the pink ones. I had a really good time and I want to come back again.
The Great Miracle Wisteria is the park's pride and joy, located right in the middle of Ashikaga Flower Park. The stress-relieving ambience brought by the purple scenery will definitely make your stay in Tochigi worthwhile.
Hello Philippines, mabuhay, konnichiwa. Welcome to Ashikaga Flower Park. Today is Akanuhi. If you want to visit this place, you should visit Tochigi area. I recommend that you come around this time. The wisteria will be in full bloom around mid-April to early May.
That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it. See you again next time. Sayonara. Again, this is Christine Mendoza, together with Laura Mora, reporting from Tochigi, Japan for Eagle News International, and we are 125.
My family joins me in extending our warm greetings to Eagle Broadcasting Corporation.